Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK, showcasing products made by Stampin' Up to inspire you to make your own beautiful paper craft projects. This is the card we're going to be working on today. I made this card for an autumn themed blog hop. I didn't really have any autumny stamps, and so I decided to use the daisy punch to make sort of sunflowers and in tones that sort of implied harvest. We're going to remake this today, but we're going to make it in a nice bright colour, which is much more my thing. I'm going to make it in polished pink, and I've just realised that I haven't got my white embossing powder out, so I'm just going to disappear for 2 seconds. Give me 1 minute. And I'm back with my white embossing powder because I'm going to need that. Thought I'd got everything out, but obviously I hadn't. Right, so we're starting off with a normal sized card blank. This is half a sheet of basic black, so it measures 21 centimetres by approximately 14.5 centimetres down that side. And then I'm going to bring in my trimmer. I'm just going to score this in half at 10.5 centimetres. If you're working in inches, it will be at 4 1/8. So that's going to give me my card blank. And I'm then going to use my embossing buddy. Let's find my bone folder first of all. I'm going to use my embossing buddy. Now, we don't sell the embossing buddy at the moment. We keep asking them to bring it back because we all use it. And we'd love it to be back in the catalogue, so we keep asking. Eventually maybe they'll listen to us. So I'm just going to put a bit of embossing buddy around this corner here, because this is where we're going to stamp our greeting, our thanks for everything. Still going to be a thank you card, this one. So I've mounted that, and this is from, now is it Colour and Contour? Let me see. It is Colour and Contour. It's this stamp set. Colour and Contour, that one there. I really love these sentiments with the block capitals and then the sort of hand script. I think they're lovely. So take my Versamark, stamp my greeting over at the side here, like so, and then a little bit of white embossing powder. Don't have room for my embossing powders in my room, so I've got a trolley just outside, which is where I keep them, which is why I just had to nip outside to get it. There we go, beautiful. No specks there because I did it with my embossing buddy first, so that's really good news. There we go, and then we need our heat gun. And sorry if you can't hear me over this, it is quite a noisy heat gun. There we go, and just let it warm up and then angle it onto your stamping, and eventually you'll see the white powder change into a shiny sort of liquidy surface, and that's when you know that you've finished heat embossing. Don't do it too much or you'll heat it up so much that it will soak back into the paper and you won't get that nice raised image. Right, so that's that bit done. I'm going to put that to one side for the moment and work on our daisies. So like I said, I'm going to be working with polished pink today. So I've got a nice sheet of polished pink here, and I'm going to need, I think I did 3 daisies for each of this. I'm going to need 6 daisies altogether then. Okay, so I've got my polished pink pad here. And we're going to stamp 6 polished pink daisies. 1, 2, 3. You could do this with Versamark if you wanted a more subtle look. 3, 4. Oh no, 5, 6. There we go. We've got 6 there now. And then we're going to punch those out with our large daisy punch. So the daisy stamp is from the Daisy Lane set, I love this set. I've loved it ever since it was out. It's a really old set now. It must be one of the oldest in my collection, but I love it, and I love the daisy punch. It came out very early in my Stampin' Up career, this daisy punch, and I'm so pleased that it stayed in. I love it, and it will be something that never goes from my collection. I will always keep this. There we go. When it first came out, it was so popular. It was out of stock for ages. I had customers wanting it, and it was out of stock. Right, I'm trying to position this so that I can get it lined up properly. And there's just a little bit of card in the way, so let's just take off a little bit. So, just need to position it. There we go. So you line it up. When you're happy with the lining up, just grab it. I've not cut anything yet, it's just grabbed. And then if you're happy, oh gosh, that's hard, you can punch. Right, okay, let's try and do this one. Hope we can get it round the right way for this one. There we go. So again, line it up and punch. Gosh, it's quite stiff. I have used it quite a lot though. And actually, the polished pink cardstock is quite, because it's got a lot of pigment in it, I think it's quite a thick card. It feels thick, this cardstock. Right, there we go. Right, I'm going to have to trim a little bit off here as well, just to angle this where I want it to go. So when you're putting in the punch, sometimes little bits of angles, the corners get in the way. So there we go. That's 3. And we just need to do these other 3. I'm loving this. I still love this petal pink. So again, I'm going to cut off a little bit here. Let's cut that bit off, just so that I can move the punch around to get a perfect placement. Otherwise that little corner of card was stopping me doing that. There we go. And the next one, again, just going to have to cut a little bit off. It's amazing what a difference it makes if you can just cut a little bit off to make sure that you can maneuver your punch around. There we go. And then one more. There we go. Yeah. Oh, that's not quite in line. So again, just cut a little bit of card off there so that I can maneuver the punch around like so. It's still not working very well. What's going wrong here? Let's try taking this bit off. Don't like wasting cardstock, but I do want to get this lined up properly. See if that works better. There we go, that's better. There we go. There's our 6 daisies. And what we're going to do is we're going to layer them. We're going to offset each petal so that we get layers, a nice full daisy. So we're going to do one like that, and then another, the last one that comes in and goes in between. So you get a really nice full daisy like that. And obviously this isn't harvesty colours, but I wanted to do something nice and bright and cheerful. So a little bit of Tombow and offset that. So try and make sure you get the centre right in the centre, because otherwise it won't work properly. So it just takes a minute to line that up properly. And then this one is going there, like so. That's one of my daisies. You have got a little bit of wiggle room. If it's not quite where you want it to be, you can just manoeuvre it around a little bit until it dries, but I think that's fine. Once it's dried, I will try and curl the petals a little bit, but I'm just going to let the glue dry a little bit first before I try that, just with your bone folder. And again, make sure you've got the centres lined up and the petals offset, and then 3 layers, filling in the gaps with the last one, like so. Just put that to one side as well. Now I have already die cut 2 little circles, and I tell you where I cut them from. These are the gingerbread dies. that go with the peppermint and gingerbread bundle in the catalogue, and I've just used one of these circle dies. They're meant to be for cutting out these that'll make little peppermint sweets, but I've just used it for my centres of my my flowers. And what I'm going to do what I did here. So I just cut this out of, I think this is cinnamon cider, and then I just used, I think, early espresso to dot on it, just to make it look more realistic. So I'm just going to take my Stampin' Right marker. No, I'm going to use the brush end to do it because the thin end isn't quite thick enough, and I'm just going to dab over here just to make it look a bit like pollen, I suppose, in the centre of my flower, just filling up that little yellow circle just to make it look a bit more realistic. Also, I've shown all sorts of ways in the past of doing the centres of these flowers. I've quilled them, I've stamped the stamp, so you can see it has got a sort of centre in this stamp, and I've stamped that and then cut that out and then mounted it. So there are all sorts of ways that you can do the centre. I've used other stamps from other stamp sets as well, I think, but that works, doing that. So they're going to have nice bright yellow centres like that, so really nice and bright. There we go. And another one. And I've already also die cut some leaves. The leaves I used were from a set called Pierced Blooms, and I've just cut out some leaves, and to this time I've used Granny Apple Green, nice and bright to go with my bright pink, and I've cut two each of the four single leaves. So if I show you, where did I put In Bloom? Oh, there it is. The stamp set is called In Bloom, and the dies are called Pierced Blooms. And so there are four, I'll move them out of the way, 4 single leaves, different sizes, different shapes, and I've just cut each of those out twice to help me with my arrangement. Right, okay, so I think we're ready to go back to our card. So let's find my card blank. What did I do with it? Here it is. So I'm going to use today, this paper was from Pansy Petals, and it was Bumblebee, and I used Bumblebee. This one, it's from the family stack, so this is from the In Colour stack, and we're going to just cut a piece of cardstock, which is, actually I'm just going to trim the edges off here because it's not quite meeting. You may not be able to see that on camera. It's not quite meeting, and I want it to be a nice flush fold. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit of the edge to make sure that meets. And then this piece of cardstock is going to be 14 by 5.5. So let's cut this by 14. No, let's do 5.5 first. Let's do this. We'll do the 5.5 bit first. So it's 5.5 wide. Then I don't have to cut into that bit. And it's 14 long. So just a little bit to cut off the end there. Now I hope that's going to fit. If it's not, I can adjust it. It might be a bit too wide because I might have done my greeting a bit too far over. So I'm going to cut another little bit off there. I'm going to cut 0.5 centimetre off and see if that works. So you can play around with the measurements. Nothing set in stone here. And that works a lot better. Look, I'm not crashing into my sentiment now. So we're going to stick that on. A little bit of Tombow. Could use this paper any way round, the other way round if you wanted. So it's got another pattern on the back, like you can see. Use this to spread out, and I have to admit, Jez has bought me a silicone spreader, which I do use quite often, but quite often it's buried under things on my desk. But I always have a cocktail stick to hand, so quite often I still resort to my old methods. The silicone spreader is great though. There we go, just a little panel there. Just going to use my bone folder to make sure this is nice and then we just need to organise these. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to turn the petals up a little bit, so just like that. So there we go. So we're going to put one there. and one there, like so. Yeah. So let's just glue those into place. Just a little bit of glue in the centre of the flower. You don't need it all over the back, because you want those petals to be a little bit free. And then that one can either tuck under or it can tuck above. Just overlap above a little bit. And then we're going to just arrange these leaves around. So like that. That works, I think. So just need to glue those down. It's very bright, this card, but I do love a nice brights card. You will know that the brights is my favourite colour family. If I had to choose, if I was deserted on a desert island, I would choose the brights family. If I could only have one colour family, would always be my choice. I love that you can make a rainbow from those colours. And we're just going to glue these leaves, and then we're just going to do a little panel inside. My other card, my harvest card, I actually used Bumblebee to go inside, which is a bit of a breakaway for me, because I nearly always use white inside my cards. But just because there was very little white on my card, which there is on this one as well, I used a matching colour, but I'm not going to use polished pink in this one, because I think it just would be a bit too bright inside. So I am going to revert back to white. There we go. And last one, a little bit of Tombow, and there we are. And then just need our panel inside. So I've got a piece of cardstock here. I hope is cut to the right size. That's not bad. So it's just cut half a centimetre smaller than whatever your card blank is, and that gives you a 2.5mm border all the way round. So just, oops, there we go. Gosh, I'm filming here at 5 o'clock. And it's already getting dark outside. I hate these dark evenings. Really hate them. But there we are. And then just need to put just a little something inside to take the pattern through. So I'm just going to stick another little leaf in there. Should have a couple more leaves left over somewhere, but I don't know where they've gone. I've only got this one. No, I'm just going to stick with one though. There must be another one, because I cut out 8, and I think, oh no, I've used 6, haven't I, on the front? That is right, I've used 6. Right, I'm just going to put that one there. And there we are. So, don't know if you have a favourite. But this one, not so harvesty, this one a bit harvesty, but just nice. This a bit reminds me of gerberas, really, rather than sunflowers, which I was trying to emulate there. But anyway, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that project. Hope it might have inspired you to make one of your own. Just find stuff in your stash that you could replicate. Just use the layout, you know, something about it. Hopefully the colour scheme or something might have inspired you. Let me know if it does. I'd love to know if you're how I'm inspiring you. Great, and that's it from me today. If you want to purchase anything that I've used, they're all for sale down below. You can click on the links and click right through. But apart from that, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back really, really soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.